sort of shunt it off at a certain point and fed back through? Like, where does that blood, is it also coming from the heart?
Yes.
This is very meta right now, vessels on vessels and vessels.
Yeah. All right, let me see if I can find a picture.
This one's on between two arteries and
Okay. Now, what you're seeing here, okay, is a artery, all right? Do you see how it's got the vessels running on the outside of it? That's what it does. It runs on the outside.
So that's
the base of the vasorum. Okay. Basically, what it'll do is it'll supply the tissues throughout here. So it's all part of the vessel system that, yes, is exiting the heart and returning to the heart.
But at least for like the arterial capillary level of those, like, would that be coming from the artery that it is feeding into? Like,
Most likely.
Yeah.
Most likely. Yeah. In other words, it would be like a branching that would take place to feed the actual tissues and return to that flow.
Was that on the connector? I thought it did too. I can't find it.
So, okay, so obviously on the tunica externa, the vasa vasorum is located on it, but there's also other blood vessels that come from the heart as well, correct?
No.
Because
any of the blood vessels that are leading into the vessel itself are simply termed vasa vasorum.
So the vasa vasorum isn't what, it's not the blood that, their own, I thought the vasa vasorum was their own blood supply.
Right, that's what we just said. It would be like as branching occurs, think of that blood vessel having a little branch, feed, return, and come back to the heart.
Okay, I was just wondering, because it says usually merges with neighbor blood vessels. Okay, got it. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Well, because it's going to be present for large to medium to small, so we're going to have it present. When you get to that smaller, well, I guess that outer layer, you're going to have to, they're going to be neighboring. And the thing about blood vessels, one of the things about blood vessels can grow and extend. Okay? So, the best example that I can give you is cancer. All right? Cancer is an area, because wherever it might occur on the body, all right, it's those cells that are carrying out cell growth at wrong rates, all right? Cells of our bodies, okay, they have a lifespan that they should exist in. When those cells exceed their growth and reproduction, that's a cancer. So cancer is out of control cell growth. Well, if that's the case, the way that the cancer is going to grow and continue to increase in size, blood vessels that are located around it will grow into that tissue, those cells. And that's how the cancer continues to be fed and continues to grow, continues to be fed, continues to grow. Do you see the cycle that happens?
Is that why it's so hard to get rid of it? Because it's
Depending upon the cells that it's found in. Yes. because, you know, sometimes you can go in, cut the growth out, and you're good. Sometimes you might have to cut it out, do chemotherapy, maybe then okay. Sometimes you might have to cut it out, chemotherapy, radiation, all this other stuff, and it still doesn't go away. So it's dependent upon the growth of it, like the size of it, where it's found, that sort of thing. So vessels can actually spread into tissues, and they can heal. You know, if you think about it, they get cut, all right? Like if we get a paper cut or whatever the case might be, okay, they can heal. So it's really cool what blood vessels can do. Now, Andrew, this is that change in the routing of blood that occurs. Now, for the most part, in our body, the circulatory routes, okay, follow the simplest pattern. The one where we simply have a capillary bed, we get our blood flow, blood leaves the heart, enters the capillary bed, meets the veins, and returns to the heart. For the most part, that's our simplest route. It's the one that we find for the majority of the routes. Now, another circulatory route that we have is the portal system. Ah, does this ring a bell? Which one, Andrew? In our endocrine system, okay, we had that hypothalamus. Y'all remember it?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so what happened was we had a capillary bed that led to another capillary bed that led to the bloodstream. In other words, the blood left the heart, went to the capillary bed, to the veins, to the second portal system, back to circulation to go to the heart. There was no second pump, because the heart's a pump. There was no second movement to the heart in between. Went from one capillary bed to the next, to the bloodstream. Yes, no, maybe. All right. Another route that we have is a shunt. Now, this, you've probably heard the term shunt, right?
Mm-hmm.
How?
Like people with brain bleeds,
Yeah.
People with something in their brain, and they went in and put in a shunt. A lot of times, that is fluid-based, where they run the shunt, goes into the digestive system, and hopefully leaves the body. All right? This time, we are looking at something between arteries and veins, the arteriovenous anastomosis. What happens when you anastomose something? You kind of glue it, put it together. Okay? So, here is what could happen. Blood leaves the heart, enters, and rather than going into the capillary, it can bypass and go to the veins. So, we can have blood bypass the arteries, and if that's the case, it's an arterial anastomosis. We can have blood bypass on the venous side, and that'll be a venous anastomosis. For the most part, when the body shunts the blood. It's going to bypass capillary beds of a certain area of the body altogether. For example, in the case of severe trauma, where someone may be hemorrhaging, the body will direct the blood flow to the area of the hemorrhage. Basically bypass, let's say it's trauma to the femoral artery, okay? It's going to bypass the capillary beds to all of like these extremity capillary beds to the muscles. It's going to bypass all of that. It's going to shunt the blood to where the blood is spurting out. It's going to try to meet the demand of that loss of blood. Now, something that's not quite as severe as that, okay, which might happen for some of us this weekend, tomorrow night, when it gets down into the 20s, all right? Y'all know I'm joking, okay? But, hey, it's Virginia. But I mean, no, I'm not joking about the weather, I'm joking about the little, what I'm going to explain. Ever heard of frostbite?
Mm-hmm.
Where does it usually occur on people?
Extremities.
Usually like fingers, toes, nose, ears, lips, okay? The body, when it gets that cold and it's exposed to that cold, it says, forget that area of the body, we don't need it. And it will simply shunt the blood, just cut it off, and send it somewhere else. Send it to the inner core, and that's why the stuff gets, you know, cold on the outside. And then if it's too long, all right, tissues begin to die. So people who get frostbite severely tend to lose those extremities because the tissue has died and they can't return the blood flow to that.
A lot of patients that work like that. A lot of the homeless people around here, we had that last year.
Are people who have Raynaud's, is that just like overactive in them?
Raynaud's is thought to be actually, it's something that they really don't know what the true cause is, all right? It is a situation where people who have it cannot survive, they can't withstand the cold temperatures to their hands and their feet. And so what happens is, you know, they have trouble with like moving in it and stuff like that. But it's my understanding, they don't know if it's completely a circulatory problem, if it is a nerve problem, or if it's both. So the only thing they know to do at this point in time is to, well, actually there really is no treatment. There's no treatment for it. The only thing you can do is if you suffer from it and you have to wear the gloves or whatever, and people laugh at you, just let them laugh. You know, unfortunately, I have it. You know, I cannot have my fingers in ice. All right, like if I go to try to put ice in a glass, it's severe pain for me. And then, like this weather getting cold now, yes, my fingers and my toes, they are actually, see, that's the problem. It's not just the cold that you're feeling, it's pain.
Isn't it like it can cramp up your muscles? And
Yes,
yeah.
severely. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I just want to clarify something. So the arteriovenous,
The shunts.
yes, the shunts, those are, those are the only ones that pathway that will shunt you. These venous, these other ones, D and E.
Well, you can either bypass on the arterial side, bypass on the venous side, or you can bypass the capillary altogether.
So if you have C, you're bypassing the capillary.
You're bypassing it altogether.
But D and E
D
is just
and E,
artery.
for example, for the artery side, it's still trying to push, like in the case of severe trauma, it's still trying to push the blood to that area.
So does it shunt as well? Kind of?
Well, what happens is it's going out by way of arteries, not returning by way of veins.
Got it. Okay. Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Now, if we talk about the vessels, one thing we have to mention is blood pressure and factors that are affecting blood pressure. One of the things that your textbook is going to go into detail with you about, that I'm not, okay? I will not expect you to know those equations, all right? Where flow equals the change in the pressure, the resistance, the diameter, that sort of thing. I want you to understand what happens with blood pressure, okay? I'm not asking you to remember those equations, okay? Now, blood pressure, what do you tend to think of when you hear that term?